Hello, and welcome to Grade 7 Arts class. We're coming to you live from the bedroom because my husband is napping on the couch. Today we're going to do the lesson. Originally I planned to do two things in this lesson. One is to introduce a skill, which is using symbolism and visual elements in your work in order to portray your idea, and the second task of the day was to introduce the new assignment. There's two assignments in the unit, and I wanted to introduce them close to the beginning of the unit so that students can have the choice to either work on them in tandem or one right after the other. Personally, I like to have that choice, and I'll explain why as the lesson goes on, as I would explain it to the students. Welcome back. Thank you all for letting me know how things are going on your playlist assignment. I got your sticky notes the other day on my desk and I reviewed them. So today during work period, I'll be coming around just to offer you any support or resources that you need to help you move forward on the assignment so that you're not stuck. Before we get to work time today, we'll be doing two things. I'm going to introduce the new assignment. That way you can choose whether you want to start on the new assignment right away, or you could continue your playlist assignment until it's completely finished and then start on this new assignment. Either way, there should be plenty of time to get both things done. It's just up to you how you want to work. The next assignment is going to be a visual assignment. So this last assignment, the playlist assignment, was more about music and auditory art. This is going to be about visual arts, so you want to get into the mindset of drawing, painting, photography, things that you can see. So something helpful for that is looking at symbolism, how the images you use give the viewer certain ideas, and other visual elements, things that you can use to take the idea from your mind and put it into a piece that people can look at. So I'm just going to pull up this PowerPoint that's going to help us take us through visual symbolism. Why is it not going big? There we go. Got it. Okay. This was going to be really great to do on the TV, but because of some technical difficulties, we're going to use the computer. So, symbolism is all about associations. When you see an image, you often associate it with other ideas than just what it is. So for example, a really good example, because there are lots of associations, would be, what do we think about when we see an apple? Does anybody have any instant ideas that come to mind, things that you associate or group together with just an image of an apple? I hear health, ideas about health, dentists, teachers, summer, pie, worms. Cool. Okay, there's actually tons of other examples too, but those are all really good examples that we can all kind of understand because they're created from society that we all live in. So when you use an image of an apple in your work, you can do that on purpose to give people those kind of ideas when they're looking at your work. So you want to be able to make those purposeful decisions. It can be really powerful. So let's brainstorm a few more of these images that we have. You can just call out, but hopefully, I'm hoping to hear from everybody in the class at some point. So when we see, oh, you can't really see that. It's a magnifying glass. You think about detective work, yeah, science, bugs, cool. Those are prime examples of how the symbolism works. We have trees, that's a good one. So family trees, yeah, nature, the environment, scary forests. Okay, those are all really good examples. So you can just take an image or even multiple images if you put them together. So if you were to put together trees and apples, you probably be giving your viewer an idea about that your piece is about nature, right? If you pair it with something else, you're going to be giving different ideas. If you were to pair an apple with books, that's going to lead people more towards thinking about school or education. So you can pair things together. That's a really useful skill. The other thing, the next things that we're talking about on the sides, is that not just images, but the way that you make art can also be used to tell a story and to add another layer of meaning. So, for example, if you think about photographs, what kinds of things do we typically use photographs for? Yeah, advertisements, memories and special occasions, evidence, yeah, like screenshots, receipts, and news. Perfect. So that's totally right. So if your idea that you want to display has some of that in the background, if you want to show something as being reality or being history, and that's part of your point that you're trying to make, then you should probably choose to use photography to add another layer of meaning to your work. So we already run over photography. It gives you ideas of evidence, exposing something, memories. Something like printmaking. So printmaking is when you make one thing, like you carve something, and you can make many different prints out of it. So artists throughout history have used that to give a meaning of mass production, that you can produce a whole bunch of things, and it kind of makes people think, well, is it really special or is it not special anymore because there's so many of them? So that's another layer of meaning that we could talk about more when we talk about printmaking techniques, because that's a whole other universe, but it's also a good example. And then, of course, something that we might be using, painting and paint strokes. So even the way that you do your strokes could depict a feeling. So if your paint is crazy and you're just being quick and you're not being careful, that's okay, because that gives a meaning. And if that's the meaning that you want, energy, chaos, then use that. If you want to portray ideas of perfectionism or something like that, then you want to have very, very careful, concise brush strokes in your painting. So you can use those things. Painting is great because it's something that we readily have available here. So if that fits your needs, then that's something to think about using for your idea. The last one that I have as an example is drawing, which is another one that we use a lot here, in your sketchbooks and everything, because that gives feelings of immediacy, that you needed to do something because it was right in front of you, or because you needed to get an idea on paper right away. And those are sometimes things that you want to portray to your viewer, that this piece of art that you made it in a rush for some reason. But it also, because it's a simple material, it really focuses on the subject matter, so people aren't kind of distracted by your paint choices, your brush strokes. It's all focused on what your image is. And I think it's also very intimate too, right? Thinking about looking in someone's visual journal like we use, or their private sketchbook. So if you want to create that intimacy with your viewer to make them feel closer to you, doing something in a sketchbook style is a great choice to make that point. So here we have some examples too that we can quickly discuss and talk about. This one's a little hard to see, but basically it's Frida Kahlo. She's a deer and she has arrows in her. So that's what kind of symbolism we have there. Yeah, being vulnerable or weak, that's good symbolism. We notice that it's a painting, so what does that tell us about, pardon me, no COVID. What does that tell us about the level of reality of the situation? Will we feel differently if this image was a photograph? We might be a little confused because that would make it look really real, whereas painting doesn't. It just makes it look like an idea. This one is a photograph. It's album art from Pink Floyd, and the man's on fire. So they used a photograph to really make us feel like this is a real situation. So that adds an element of our understanding of this being real. So we might react quite concerned because the man is on fire and he doesn't seem to care. That's what's going through the viewer's mind. And then, of course, the persistence of memory, melting clocks. Clocks are great symbolism. What kind of ideas do we associate with clocks? Time, yeah. Schedules, being places on time and organizing our life, that's a good example. Boredom, that's another good example. So there's lots of symbolism packed into some of these paintings that we can use to give ourselves ideas. So that's the end of the slideshow. I do have handouts that summarize the slideshow components, so give those to Jonah and Jason, and I'll get you guys to please hand them out to the rest of the class so that you guys can refer to these cheat sheets whenever you need help jogging your brain for ideas. Whether you start this project now or you plan to start it later on in the week, you'll have those cheat sheets with you. And I can also help you. So, is anybody interested to know what the next project is going to be? Okay. I'll tell you. It's very exciting. And it's very simple. We are going to use our visual art skills to show our connection to a place. So, why is it important to think about place? Places are things that make us feel like we belong. They're places that are the backdrops for memories that we have and help shape us into who we are, who we're becoming. So with art, you can do two things. You can show that to other people that a certain place is important to you, and you can also learn that for yourself. You might not think you have a connection emotionally to a place until you start to really think about that place. What you have to do if you're going to do art, create art about it. So today, like I said, you don't have to start on this project quite yet. You can just continue on in our work period here and finish your playlist assignment and keep working on that. But I want to get your ideas started rolling so that if there's a place, it could be as big as a city or it can be as small as your bedroom. If there's a place that is important to you, you can start thinking about it. Start noticing it, on your bus ride home today or looking through old photos or whatever. You might get an idea this week if you don't get one today. So that should be your goal for now, is just to have that idea started of what your place is and how you feel about it. It doesn't have to be a positive connection. It can be anything. Could even be a vehicle. So let's get started with our work time. If you need technology to continue on your playlist assignment, you can go ahead and grab the iPads or the laptops and search your music and use the word processor. If not, if you want to start on this project today, this new one, you should take out your visual journals and just record all the thoughts and ideas that you start having about the project. Whether you're going to use them or not, just kind of jot everything down in your visual journal is always a good place to start. So, I'll be coming around, circling around, trying to out for your support. I'll start with the people who said they need help in their post-its. And otherwise, I'll try to visit with everyone today and just kind of check in and see how we're doing and if we're comfortable at a good pace moving along.